Uh, this is gonna be something interesting, and I'll try to make it as brief as I can. And you all know I like to ramble, so this will mean a lot, even though I'm trying to condense it as much as I can. I'm turning 10 years old. I'm still doing Maniac for Bricks. I'm still doing YouTube content. Tomorrow's it, around I think 3 p.m. or so. I started making my first Lego video for YouTube, making a channel called 13 Hammer times 62, where you're seeing this right now. And since then, been making tons of different kinds of content, mostly in the realm of Lego and other building toys, Connects, Mega Blocks, some gaming stuff every so often. Technically, not the first video uploaded on YouTube. I've shared about that before on a separate channel that I uploaded some brief gameplay of Luigi's Mansion just to share with a friend. It wasn't really supposed to be a public thing. It was just kind of a sharing in the moment sort of thing, just chatting with somebody in high school. But this is when I actually got serious. I actually developed some kind of following, and some people are still around today. I've been thinking about this for over a year, almost 2 years, about this moment right tomorrow. What's going to happen? Where am I going to be? What am I going to do? I've probably even thought about it longer. I mean, I'm no stranger to that, thinking ahead of a milestone where I can remember like as early as like third grade. I'd be doing the math and figuring out, oh, if I'm in third grade in 2003, I'm 8 years old. So 10 years from now, I will be 18. I will be going to college and I will be picking up my own life. I thought about that in third grade. And that's not a third grade thing to think about, really. There's a whole lot of other stuff going on way before that, even before high school, even before middle school, that I had to live in the moment with. And I did. There's a lot that happened all those years in between. And I thought about it in high school. You know, I was about to get my driver's license, who have the access to acquire a driver's license. Heck, even after high school, whenever you get certified, licensed, it's important. It's a milestone. It's a new thing you can do. And it opens a bunch of doors to other things going forward. You know, it's a good personal identification for a lot of things. Um, Not the only one, but yeah. Don't worry, I'm getting to something with this. While I was in high school, I thought about college. And of course, I was thinking about college because it was right around the corner. It was only 4 years of high school. I wasn't held back. I moved along just like everybody else. And people talked about what kind of careers they wanted to be in. And at the time, I had said that I want to be a teacher. I had thought about that practically ninth grade or so, give or take. Um, that I had wanted to be an elementary school teacher. Didn't really decide on a grade level at that point. I figured fifth grade or so might have been a little rough, or anything above that. So, K to four, K to five, maybe. I had gone through actually doing some work towards it in some of my classes or educational observation after most of my classes during the day, going a few times per week to one of the local public schools, taking notes for teachers did. And being, of course, I had to do a Lego lesson plan. I could share more about that on its own video. I think that might be good in its own way. And here I am now, 2022. I'm 27 years old. I went to college for 6 years. I had a year that I took off. I have not graduated. I do not have a degree in education, environmental science, or art studio. All fields that I had pursued at some point, and the college that I went to, well, any level of education that I was going for, I I had to basically take a double major. That was a requirement. I couldn't just graduate as one elementary education degree that I wanted to. Um, and the double major thing really bogged me down. At that time, I was not able to focus on a lot of classes, and especially ones in fields I was not familiar with or could not move past. There were some classes that I took multiple times over multiple semesters. Nothing improved as far as the grade goes. And it's funny now that for all these years in between, while I had not worked as a full time teacher, I have been in tutoring centers and STEM classes and after school programs. Uh, I considered substitution a couple times. Um, I've been in the summer programs, internships at my college, doing a summer youth program with middle schoolers, being a teacher aide to other classes going on, and learning some things along the way during that time. All that time later, and YouTube has been one of the longest running things I have ever done in my life. 10 years covers a lot of ground. I mean, 1 year, you could do a lot in 1 year. If anything has taught me that, it's Unis Honest, a YouTube channel from Markiplier and Ethan, um, or Crank Gameplays, that I watched pretty consistently because I knew every day there was going to be something different, something exciting, something that they wanted to move forward with that they didn't do regularly. Of course, the pandemic hit, so things changed, but they made the best out of a bad situation. And that's really important. That they still pursued other things, that they moved to some direction, that they evolved past what they're known for, what they're known to regularly do, to have fun and be with each other and enjoy what else is out there in the world. It means a lot to me. A lot of channels mean a lot to me. In fact, a lot of the creators that I that I started my YouTube channel with have grown exponentially. Just to name a few of them, Markiplier, of course, started in 2012, or restarted one of his channels in 2012. Just Too Good, Brickstar. I'm sure that I'm forgetting many others, and maybe I'll list them down below if I can think of more or talk more about them some other time. And they've all greatly improved, all taking great strides in the past 10 years for their avenues, for their content, for what they produce. And I still enjoy watching them. I do apologize that I don't get to all of those as regularly as they upload or as regularly as I want to, but I still care about them. They still mean something to me. There's little old me, Joey Maluso from New Jersey, just sitting around with a computer desk, trying to figure it all out. I mean, this moment right now, I'm doing nothing too different from what I did 12, no, in 2012. Stuttering, green background, except this time it's a green screen curtain, not a 16 by 16 plate to start off the videos. That was the thing. Holding a phone or iPod, sharing with the world, sharing with YouTube. I still have it almost like a flash memory of uploading my first YouTube videos on this channel, my first Lego YouTube videos, and having this whole mindset that I'm interested in this stuff. I have a voice for this stuff. I want to share what means a lot to me. If you haven't seen it by now, I think I actually have a playlist that's on the channel, or I'll link it down below or in the community tab. Just to reiterate that there are videos on this channel that mean very much to me. I honestly can't say every video does. There are some videos that have much more attachment to them than other ones. I mean, it's nice that other things are documented. I really do appreciate that because I don't remember dates, and some things I go back for at some point for some reason, and it's nice to know that it's out there. I've had other things that I've skipped recording or photographing and kind of upset by not having that information available. There are videos that I've been working in the background on for the better part of 2 years that require that documentation. And I have to do a lot of backtracking and research to figure out as much information out of it as I can. I guess you could say I'm a preservationist kind of guy. I like having that access, that completeness, so that it's not lost forever. In some ways, this actually carries back into Lego. This carries back into one of the bigger projects that I've pursued on my channel, Bizarre Lego. When I wanted to take a video series of flashbacks where I documented about odd and obscure Lego items that really haven't seen the light of day, or a lot of documentation out there on the internet, and bring something new. Just be able to show more of it or talk about it in a certain way, sometimes with a skit involved, a little more dramatics built up. I think I mentioned this before. I think I even mentioned it last year when I had my anniversary for 9 years. Um, I did a lot of drama in high school. And middle school, and a little bit in college. Where in middle school I was in multiple plays. In high school I was in stage crew, and in college I was in a different form of stage crew, but still played a big role and still knew the production very well. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot of that filming experience is really carried over here on this personal uh, account. Different equipment and different access, and you know, I didn't buy that stuff for the other stage crew I did. I um I was just knowledgeable in it. I was taught how to do it, and I carried that knowledge with me for years. I think even one of the productions for 10 years before I couldn't do it anymore. Some of the stuff I see around me has been here since day one or before day one, and I really don't know what this moment was supposed to look like. Even 6 months ago, or the past 2 years, and I knew this was coming up, and I wanted to do something special for the 10th year of Maniac for Bricks, up to and including the day itself. What have I got to show for it? I can't say that every video I've put out over the past 6 months even has been glorious, has been an improvement, has been like a combination of my skills over the years. But I'm still here. If it's one thing I have to take away from all of this, is I'm still here. And I don't just mean on the cyberspace. I'm not even just talking about as a YouTube channel, as an online personality, as a user, as a part of the online community, any of that kind of stuff. Any social media. I'll be forward, and I think I have been before. I'm surprised I'm here just physically on this thing we call Earth. 2013 could have been it. Maybe even late 2012, actually, if I do the math right. Yeah, could have been October 2012. And at that point, we'd have what? July, August, September, October. just about 4 months that this Maniac for Bricks thing could have happened. It wouldn't have been called Maniac for Bricks. It still would have been 13 Hammer times 62. It wouldn't have even been Maniac for Lego. I changed the name sometime later. I think in 2013. A lot has happened in my life in the past decade. Things inside and outside of doing YouTube content, with or without the Lego hobby or any hobbies. And I'm still not sure of everything that's going on and what I want to be and where my life is going. My life has taken some directions that were unexpected, exploring things that I probably haven't thought about before, but much like my inspirations, I still want to see what's out there. I still want to figure this all out. And I can't really pin myself down to one thing forever. Welcome. I noticed. Don't worry, I saw the chat. I had thought of a couple different things to celebrate for 10 years of Maniac for Bricks. And thank you. I had thought about a 24-hour live stream, but I knew out of courtesy of family that wouldn't be possible because I'd keep other people awake, in the wee hours, and I don't want to do that to them. I wouldn't be able to bring myself anywhere to do it separately for 24 hours, It just wouldn't work. Wouldn't make sense. I thought about giveaways, but when I've done giveaways on the channel before, I'm not going to say that they were complete failures, but they didn't turn out as I expected. Some errors would come up in different ways, and I'll be forward with this. I don't feel confident enough to do giveaways unless I really know what material I'm working with way in advance and what audience is involved with it. Like, I had even giveaway winners that just I fell out of communication with, or circumstances I couldn't mail them to. So, what am I supposed to do? Redraw it? And just because they got locked out of it, now they can't win a prize? I have no idea. I had thought about re-reviewing the first video on the channel. I have a boxed, sealed copy of the first Lego review on this channel, the Lego Alpha Team Deep Sea Robot Diver. And I actually still have it sitting in my Lego display, the underwater display in my room. That big glass case with a whole bunch of Atlantis stuff, but there's still Alpha Team in there, and it's still the set that I reviewed that long ago. I actually got the set sealed almost 2 years ago or so, and I had thought maybe this would be fun to do something with it. Not sure what yet. And here we are. It's like a deadline. But the calendar fills up quick, and time moves on. That's another big important thing of Unos Honest that I learned in that year was your time is important, and you only got so much of it. So make what you can of it. But there's a lot that's been going on in the background of things. I can't afford the whole day tomorrow. I'm lucky if I can afford even a quarter of the day tomorrow to publicly celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Maniac for Bricks. I kind of wonder if I should do it as a month celebration, even though it's supposed to be the day, July 1st. I thought before about doing it as a year-long celebration with little things trickled in every month. But that was a lot more work than I was prepared for, and too little time to prepare that work. I had thought about postponing it. Like, oh, we're going to celebrate July 1st after July 1st. Which sounded really dumb. But I'm still grateful. I'm looking at things I would have never seen before if things were different, if things had changed. And being on YouTube has not been easy on me for all of these years. Many times, many times, I'd considered walking away from it, considered quitting, or pulling back a lot of content, or something. And that's regardless if it's this channel, another channel. I tried reviving some other stuff to, again, move in different directions. And it's a balancing act. It's been a big balancing act. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with of, doing the things that you want to do as a creator, as just being a fan of things, enjoying your hobby, and also things that people follow you for. I mean, I understand that people will follow for the passion, but sometimes they catch on to a niche. They catch on to something that you do and want to see more of that fostered. And I've had several of them over the years. Obviously, Bizarre Lego, like I mentioned. Brick Theory, that's been something that people would love to see more of. And I've had ideas for so long that I get overwhelmed easily thinking about them, when to do them, how to do them, making them better than I always do, better than the content I regularly put out there. I hate to fart out a video of that kind of originality, you know? A whole video, it wouldn't bother me as much because I'm just documenting the fact that I own it, that I acquired it, that I know something about it, that I have it in hand, and there's something I enjoy about it. But Brick Theory is something that's completely from scratch. I mean, little traits of information all over the place that I put together to make something different than what can easily be accessed. And from a perspective that not everybody can understand or share, but enjoy nonetheless. I'm glad people enjoy Brick Theory, and I've wanted to make more of it. I have a lot of ideas that are sitting on the back burner, whether or not other people want them or enjoy them. I believe it was around late summer, maybe into the fall. I think it was about late summer or so last year that I had wanted to make a revival of sorts, or continuation, if it may, of a video game series that I started many years before that. I only had 2 episodes up to this point, but I always had plans for more. Plenty of episodes that have been scripted at some point, or having some outline to be continued somehow. Technology has held me back from a lot of it because with video gameplay, I don't have the best equipment, and equipment that I have had before has faltered. Even recent equipment has not favored me lightly. I've always been afraid of having to be at the Rolls Royce of video and computer and everything, electronically. I've known people who did great things with lesser technology. And I just have to figure out how to do that myself if I cannot reach that caliber. I don't want this to be a rant. This really isn't supposed to be. This is just a way of proving that despite all the difficulties, despite all of the changes, despite all of the goals that come and go, the pursuits that matter and fade away, I'm still here. I still have things to share with you. I still have importance. I still have something that I love about the community. And even if I'm not at the level I want to be, I set a hard line of standard for myself that I almost never reach, or at least within the time frame that I allow. But even when I'm not at that point, I still have other people I support. I still have other people that I aspire to, that I look up to younger or older than me, newer on YouTube or not, whether they're on other platforms or even other mediums. I still appreciate the people who are doing things, even when I'm still figuring things out. I've shared it before when I've been finicky about Bizarre Lego. I was like, hey, if you enjoy Bizarre Lego, if you enjoy how I talk about these obscure Lego things or, little known Lego trivia, there's other people who also enjoy that. I'm not the only one. There are other people I've bonded with because of that interest in the Lego community and the regular stuff that we all know, all the regular themes and sets and products that are readily available right now. I could still talk with them about those things. I could still watch when they put out things about them. And yes, I will shout them out when I can. I see something that they do, I'm impressed, and I want to encourage that, even if I'm running slower. I'd hate to be in the dust, but I'm glad people are still here. I'm glad I'm still here, that it still means something to me, that I still care for it. I can't believe I've already been half an hour into this. Holy crap. So it was going to be short, so it was going to be brief. Some things never change, do they? I'm still a rambly boy, aren't I? Yeah. It is later in the day. I love being creative in all different ways. For Lego, for art, for writing, for um, you know, I make playlists of music. I don't make music myself, but you put me in a car ride and I'm at the aux, you're gonna have a good soundtrack. You're gonna have something good to listen to on the ride. People out there actually know what that's like, and they can vouch for me. I have been told that I am a good co-pilot. I uh, I love embracing my creativity, and I love having platforms like YouTube and Twitter and Instagram. In the past, I used Tumblr. I used to use DeviantArt for some time, and to have some way to express that on the internet is wonderful. I'm glad there's that ability, that freedom to it. Um, but I also have to remember not to be selfish. That I am doing it for myself. That I am enjoying what I create because I feel good of creating it. That's something that I always like as a regular personality trait of mine. I almost go too selfless, where I sacrifice myself completely out of the equation if somebody wants something different. Even if it's a one off person that just happens to comment on my videos and say, oh, but I was looking for this, or oh, this thing didn't happen. They could be brand new, and there could be people who for years have been following me and been okay with what I did and never said anything different. And I will still accommodate for the newbie because maybe I see that too. Maybe I see a little bit of that change and I just want to make people happy. I have made people happy with my content and I'm glad that um I've been able to admit that. There have been people who have found my channel for things that haven't been covered before, especially in Lego, but sometimes in other areas too. And I get comments every so often. Even comments from videos that are years and years old of people thanking me, actually thanking me for making a video about it, making a review. No matter how sloppy it is or exaggerated or elongated, just to have something else out there. But I also like being down to earth with the regular stuff, the stuff that most people know. There are a lot of themes that I enjoy that other people enjoy as well. It's just that sometimes I want to express them in a bigger way than I've been able to in the past. Like, I've put off making a Hidden Side retrospective video for a long time, almost to the point that you wouldn't even expect a Hidden Side video. But I remember recording footage for it, not finishing that footage. That's basically the reason why I have not added stickers to any of the Lego Hidden Side sets, and they came out in 2018, mind you. 2018 to 2020, we had those sets. Or 2019. Something like that. For quite some time. Oh, at least 2 years. You still know that there were sets were out for a while. There's a whole bunch of sets. And that theme doesn't exist anymore. Only vaguely through the app does it exist anymore. And I still haven't played it. But either way, I didn't add stickers to it because I was waiting on that video, making something different that I could show these without the stickers added, because maybe they still hold up. Every so often I've done that with Lego sets just to see how it goes. Maybe the stickers will do something different, or the lack of thereof. People may not like stickers added to something, and maybe they'll still look good without it. Just seeing what the bricks themselves can offer as detail. And I know the stickers help in very small areas and specific things, but we like building with bricks. And sometimes stickers, and sometimes prints. See what the bricks can do. Cramming in as much as we can in the smaller spaces. So, I like talking about a lot of things that I want to make. I have some passion for that. I, you know, I'm not willingly trying to overpromise things. I'm not tricking people into following my content so that I can say, "Oh, this sounds like a good idea, but I'll never actually do it. Haha, tricked you." That's never the goal. I'm just a very ambitious person at the wrong times and not ambitious enough to carry it all the way through. I I haven't been diagnosed with anything medically in that way, and honestly, over time, I've been more curious about it. So maybe that is contributing to some of those, you know, publications, announcements, what have you. But in the meanwhile, I don't do it out of malintent. I don't mean to harm people or confuse them or anything like that. I have a good heart to be creative and enjoy that creativity and express that creativity with other people. That I have this passion that drives me to do more things, even if those things take a long time to happen or almost never happen or may get canceled or postponed for an indeterminate amount of time. And I get worried a lot of times too. Like when I canceled a whole bunch of things back in May of this year and unsure of where I was going or how I was doing. We're now at the end of June, and I'm glad things have turned around in some ways, but I'm also one guy. I know people who have outreaches to other areas, and I have a couple of sources here and there, but I know they have their own lives too. So I'm not going to put everything on their shoulders. But at the same time, gotta do something about it myself. If it sounds confusing, then you're on the right track. Like my intro to philosophy teacher taught me in 2012, 2013-ish. Because life is full of confusing things. There is no one certainty about the decisions you make. Your goals and your aspirations can change over time, and hopefully it's something that you will enjoy or in a path that you enjoy. I mean, even when it comes to teaching, I haven't been teaching straight 10 years. Not in the same place, not in the same outlets, not in the same capacities. There have been periods in between. I have not been doing any teaching related work and part of it from the pandemic as well. But, you know, I've also tried other things. And I'm glad that I've had opportunities in these times, especially 2018 and 2019, working directly with Lego. But I don't use that as a poster, slogan to say why you should care about me. I may have grown on Instagram because of that, but people are still around after that. So I must be doing something right. If it didn't just go from whatever it was to 10K and then afterwards drop down, drastically, people are still around, and I've had people coming in from other avenues. I'm glad for that. I want to express myself in other ways too, not just Lego, but maybe video games. I've wanted to express in board games and other media and things like that for years. I wanted to have that staying power of Bizarre Lego because, again, I know the videos can go irrelevant. I could look at a video that I did years ago and say I completely botched that and I could do better this time, but how and when? And will that hold up? I've looked at other creators that I've watched for years, subscribed to their channels, and I will watch their old videos, damn it. And they still hold up. And it's incredible. However, it is. I don't think it's nostalgia. It's something about how they put their effort into it, and I appreciate that effort. A lot of people my age, under my age, above my age inspire me constantly. Heck, I spent the last weekend at Too Many Games meeting one of my inspirations, and he's 25 years old. He's, yeah, he's incredible. Even if I only spent a few minutes just to say hello, get an autograph, and a photo, I'm glad that happened. I'm glad to have met him, to know that it's a real person. And more so, he was super chill. A lot of them were super chill. A lot of times when I meet other YouTubers, again, greater or lower than me, it doesn't matter. They're people. They're you and me. They just want to live their lives and enjoy what they want to enjoy and make the best of it. And they do. I've met people years ago and they still put out stuff that impresses me. I've met people recently and gotten more into their content. And even if it was just from a random recommendation on YouTube, they had something special. They meant something. I'm sure that some of those people even watching this right now, whether it's live or after the fact. So while I cannot bring you something for tomorrow specifically, I do not want to promise anything. And as I actually had this a few months back on a London Calling, that's it, on London Calling live stream from London Bridge Bricks. I'm grateful that I've been invited a couple times on there as a guest appearance for some of those live streams on Fridays. And I remembered that on there I had a moment to plug myself. Towards the end of the live stream, everybody was able to plug something that they had, that they were working on, that they had upcoming in the next week, if it was streams or videos or whatever's going on with their hobby, with their side of the Lego hobby. And when it came to my turn, standing outside of my car while I was just unpacking things and reorganizing, just not even doing any Lego related activity, I was just trying to move along, keep going, and just improve something. Whether or not people were watching my side of it. When the question got asked to me, so Joey, what are you up to? What do you have coming up? I gave the most honest answer that I could have ever given. I don't know. I don't have anything coming up. I have things that come up spontaneously. And I don't want to overpromise something. I didn't put it in those exact words. I may have rambled a bit beyond that, but that was the gist of it. And it's still true. It's been true. Heck, it's part of the reason why I like to call myself a maniac. Mania is not something that you can predict. Mania is something that happens when it happens. And I even consider myself uh, maniacal in the way that I conduct this channel or social media, just on the matter of going all over the place. I'm still here and I'm still enjoying it. The obsession of it, if you may, is also in its own way of being a maniac, you know? Like, how on earth could somebody love it so much? It takes us back to where the name came from in the first place. Maniac for Legos was a name that I made for a user for an email account back in the day. And I think this might have been about 2006 or 7, maybe? It's way before I actually had a YouTube channel. Um, but this was something that I had back in the day, inspired by Lego Mania magazine, the Lego Maniac, the things that I grew up with. And in much the same way, Lego pushed that mania marketing, like other things in the 90s, of this off the wall nature, this insanity, this enjoyment at a chaotic level. You know, this fascination turned obsession, you know? He's building all kinds of things. He's enjoying all different kinds of themes. He's a Lego maniac. And I still am. I have Lego on the mind more than you could imagine. At least 25 hours a day. And even if I'm not making a project for it, even if I'm not building something new or working on certain videos, I have tons of things around this little 2x2 pink brick. Which, if you get brickheads, you know what I mean. See? Exactly. I can't even just straightforward say brain, you know? I want to change it up a little bit. I walked through a toy store the other day, and they had a large selection in there of Playmobil. This was something that, for a little moment in time, I actually had some interest in, alongside Lego, and possibly to override Lego. I had actually wanted to move away from Lego for a little bit and have things that were already solidly put together. The style of the Playmobil sets seemed appealing to me. The character varieties were different from what I had seen at Lego at the time. And I'm not going to lie when I say that I felt a little bit of that even the other day. I'm not going to make a full conversion or anything, and so help me if I buy one Playmobil set. I did not. Although I did find a CD-ROM on the shelf without a name tag. I brought it to the register and they were confused, couldn't have any way of scanning it, no other copies were available, and they just handed it to me for free. Thank you. I now own a PC CD-ROM game with Playmobil on it. I haven't even seen the Playmobil movie, so I can't imagine it being anything like the Lego movie. But I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have any fondness for Playmobil just by wandering through the aisles. The presentation was incredible. How they had this big. There actually, I've seen two stores recently that have Playmobil very widely spread, as much as Lego, possibly even more. And I've been through the Playmobil section of Toys R Us earlier this year, February of 2022, in American Dream Mall. And again, very impressed with how they presented themselves. But yeah, at a time in my childhood, I had thought about drifting away from Lego. I did own some Playmobil sets, and I still own them. I still have the boxes, of course I do. I have all the parts and everything. but that didn't last. I had maybe 2 sets related to racing. One of them a pit crew, and the other one the actual race car and driver and such. I didn't get any more beyond that, even though I had liked other ones that I saw in the catalogs. And I stuck out with Lego. A lot of toys I grew up with, I stuck out with Lego. Mega Bloks I grew up with hand in hand with Lego. Connects I had for quite some time, and even in the YouTube days, still was getting Connect sets for various things, various reasons. I still attest that Connects did a wonderful job with the Super Mario sets, but I cannot forgive them for what they did with Family Guy sets. Yeah, those were not great. Station Wagon was okay. It's the Stewie Time Machine that is like the one of the worst things I've ever built in of any building system. So fragile, so unfriendly to parts. It's terrible. I probably still have it around somewhere, honestly. Still haven't found a way to get rid of it. I don't even have the Duplo I grew up with. Or if I do, I only have a handful of them. I actually thought about going back through trying to recollect my Duplo before I donated them to an Eagle Scout project I created back in 2012. 2012, 2013 were busy times, and it hasn't been less busy since then. But they were also great times. There was a lot of promise and moving forward and transition. And it kind of feels like that even to this day. I'm not saying it was like that all these years, but there has still been some transition. I've been a year into this new place in South Jersey, centralish. I'm right along the Jersey Shore. I consider it south. It's not deep south. It's not Cherry Hill or anything, but still. I'm not where I used to be, where I grew up and knew very well. So there's still a lot of adjustment even a year in. There's everything around me in the house itself to organize and even bring out old things to enjoy. There's plenty of videos that I want to make, and some I may have missed deadlines, but they're personal deadlines. If I enjoy it, I will continue it, even when I've had a lot of doubt about it before. I keep finding Brick Theory stuff and things to continue Brick Theories or refoster them. I wanted to make an April Fool's Brick Theory video for 2 years now. Had the idea long ago, didn't believe it was going to be plausible. Thought, hey, what if I make it an April Fool's video? Then we could all have a good laugh with it while still kind of having a Brick Theory, just to have some ridiculousness, but also not destroy the integrity of Brick Theory itself, which means a lot to people. I'm glad it means a lot to people. And I hope things come back. I hope Bizarre Lego comes back. I had mentioned it briefly when I got the Lego 2x4 brick with the Lego Island print on it. But even if I'm not writing the book now, or if I have been putting off the prospect of the book, I'm still going to be fascinated by obscure Lego things. Heck, this past week, I saw Lego Fun to Build on eBay. And I have not seen that thing on eBay since practically I bought it years and years ago, 2017 or 18 or something. And it has definitely shot up in price. The market for it has exceeded my original purchase of it. So I'm glad I got it when I did. But I will say, I passed on it. It's not that I couldn't own a second copy of it. It's just that, oh, now I know it's a different copy of it. I had only seen it in old photos of 2 different versions of this game, and probably nothing hardware changed besides just the cover of it being white or grayish instead of teal like mine is. And while mine is a little bit chipped, I still have the chip It's just sitting nearby, and I don't know how to fix it on there, but I'm not going to let it go either. Still plays. I'm glad that it still plays. Unfortunately for Brick Fair, Virginia, unless I pull some strings, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do a Bizarre Lego thing there. It would have to be under certain circumstances to make that happen, to present that, to offer that for people. I sorely missed doing it last year, so there were some people who actually wanted to try that, who knew about it. Again, other people interested in obscure Lego stuff. So maybe I ought to figure that out. I hate having this uncertainty. It drives me nuts all the time. Even though I have a lot of creative outlets and ideas and things I want to do, and always an optimistic. I always want to do it for other people's benefit, for my benefit, for positivity in general. I don't want to do it out of malice. I don't want to do it to spite people or out of jealousy or any of those emotions. Not that I don't feel those from time to time, but I don't create to destroy, if you know what I mean. I've definitely been worse, but that's not how I am on the whole. But in general, I still mean well. And again, I'm one guy. I am one guy who's still trying to figure things out, who's trying to get everything organized and focused. Like, you know, it's a lot for me to handle. Probably more of me's need to be created or consulted to make any of these things happen. But if there's still passion for it, they will. I may have not had a Stubside Heights update in quite some time. I know the last one was basically just to clean off the table and share a couple pictures on Instagram of the train tunnel, but I will still build it. I've had it for over a year, and I will still build it. It is getting built. I I know I can't dedicate every moment of time to certain things and then move on to the next. And I feel like I'm giving the speech from the Lego movie where Emmett is basically denying himself a master builder and all the qualifications that seem like he would be the least unlikely person for the job. He's not a bad person for doing that. And he's not trying to um what's the word? He's not trying to beat himself up either. I I know I have a tendency for that at various points, and sometimes things fall in my lap at the wrong time where I'm not ready to handle them. But again, I reiterate, I'm still here. Somehow I'm still doing things. Somehow I'm still fostering new ideas, even on top of the laundry list of ideas I have already. I'm still looking into some improvements here and there, even though, for whatever reason, my laptop is missing a charger. So even if I have footage recorded here, I can't even test the green screen ability yet, several weeks later. I still put myself out there. I still want to be a part of things, even ones greater than myself. I mean, if I've had ideas to projects for years and years and I'm still resonating on I want to make them happen, I will make them happen. If I really didn't care for them, and if I really didn't want them to happen anymore, I wouldn't be talking about them. I wouldn't be sharing bits about them. I wouldn't be doing research or recording or scripting in the background of everything for them. It's a creation thing. It may be a slow creation thing, but I am still building upon something that I had already done. I kind of wonder what 2012 Joey Meluso would have been like if he had known what his life would be like in 10 years. To know that he was able to go into college, but he had to double major. That he dropped out of college without a degree. That he was still able to carry his passion for Lego and video games and other things and still make YouTube videos. Maybe not of the highest quality, maybe of not great improvement, but still having an interest, still being drawn to that area and community. Still being able to work at STEM places to foster that learning, that education, that helpfulness, that ability to share with the next generation. If I may make an aside for a moment, just to appease Bionicle fans, I have said this before on Twitter, and I will say it again, and I will probably say it after this, as I had already written it into a video that is now almost 2 years old. I even shared Bionicle with the next generation, and they are still building with it themselves. They are interested in these things. They do not know all the backstory, but they still like the building system and the Lego system itself. You know, standard bricks and things. That still matters to them. They will still build in between those, even if they don't get new parts for them. But they could still find new things to use those parts. I've seen kids that use them in their stop motion animations. So who knows where they go. I have actually brought Bionicle figures to classes, and they played with them, instinctively knew how they worked. It was very intuitive. And I only had to give them the baseline of who's a bad guy, who's a good guy, and how these were toys that I played with when I was their age. That's your Generation 3 right there. No matter what teasing that Lego will do about Bionicle on any social media or 90th anniversary set or anything like that, Generation 3 is after us. We are the ones who tell the story. And to be fair, I think it's the most fitting thing. I could probably write this up in better words. Probably already did on a script for a Bionicle retrospective in vain of what Nick on Planet Ripple did. About that kind of length, or expected length. I wanted to do for a long time too. Now we are now the storytellers about this ill-forgotten Lego theme that had a large impact on a generation, and passing it down like a legend to the next of kin, the next of generation. It seems very fitting because a lot of Bionicle is sharing stories, having this legend, this history that is passed along with some altercation or with some embellishment to the next generation of people. It's in the name, Biological Chronicle. It's a chronicle. It's a story. It is a record. It is a thing to carry on. Yeah, I did a Bionicle tangent. Of course I did. And that's probably going to lose some people. But I can't help it. And hey, I got to do things for myself too. So if it's one thing that I need to embrace is myself. I gotta love myself. And you gotta love yourself too. Don't forget about that. Do things that you like to do. Draw things you want to draw. So what if it's weird? So what if it's different from what people know? So what if it's something that doesn't make a lot of sense? So what if it's complex? You're not going to please everybody, but you should at least please yourself. And I say drawing, but I also mean building. I also mean writing. I also mean any creative outlet that you can find. I've stuck by a mantra for a long time, and to some modification, I still have it with me. And that is to enjoy what you want to enjoy as long as it is not hurting other people. It's a very broad term. I'm sure there are many ways that that can be questioned and might need some tweaks. And like I said, has already taken some as it is. But if you're not putting anyone down, if you're not dismissing someone's feelings, if you're not diminishing who they are, then you must be doing something good. Good for yourself, good for others. Either way. We're wrapping up Pride Month. I don't really talk about it that much on the channel, but I have shared it on social media, so it's no secret. And I have mentioned before, I have come out publicly that I am biromantic heterosexual. And while it sounds complicated, it's very simple. Would I date a guy? Yeah. Would I have intimacy with a guy? Probably not. Would I date a girl? Yes. Would I be intimate with a girl? While it may be my business, yes. And that does not mean that I'm seeking that goal. That's not the thing that I'm going towards all the time. But if I'm going to have a relationship, those are some things that come up and that would come up in play. And I know for some people, I mean, I've even had a doctor recently ask about it, and they just put me down as bisexual just to make it easier. That was in their words. I'm not going to name the individual. I'm not going to name the professional. But they said, just to make it easier, we'll write you down as bisexual. I'm not going to be completely upset about that. While there is some difference to it. But I still enjoy myself. I still enjoy that I've found something more than I thought I could be. And even though it's of my business how it carries out, it is funny to me that it's a part of loving myself that I need to embrace more of over time. And that is one that I have, now publicly been able to, because I've known about it longer than I have shared about it. And while I don't want to make a huge problem of it for some people who may not be interested in it, or may not be fully understanding of it, I'm not hurting anybody just by saying that's how I feel, right? I'm not hurting anybody by saying you have to feel like that too. You can like who you like too. And I know people who feel different ways, who like different things, like different people, who may define themselves in different ways. And I I have tried over time to learn those, to see them as they are, how they want to be seen. And again, if they're going to enjoy themselves, I'm going to make that something I enjoy too. That self-esteem, that confidence, that they can bring themselves out there and not have to pretend it. So even though I don't mention it much, I do support many people who do. I have coworkers who feel that way, and I'm glad that they express themselves, that they feel comfortable with that, comfortable with themselves and out there with it. So even though we are wrapping this up, yes, I did actually have this announcement about 2 years ago this day, June 30th. So it does feel appropriate. But I do want to tie it back into how I should enjoy my content, how I should enjoy myself. If I don't feel good of making a video a certain way, do it over. Do it differently. There's an older video for Orient Expedition that I want to re-record because the original one, I think I could do more. And I will, eventually. It'll happen. I've already talked for over an hour now. Damn it. So much for brief. I said that before and I'm still here. And I think those 3 words mean more than making some live stream, contemplating everything, or a special promotion on July 1st, 2022. Just that fact, I'm still here. There's something that drives me forward, that fills me with joy despite adversity, that makes me want to continue making this thing happen. To be a part of it in some way, shape, or form, even if it changes over time. And even if it's something that not everybody's interested in, but makes me happy. I just hope that I can see to my happiness more than I have already. So thank you for joining. Thank you for sticking out the whole thing. Thank you for sticking around this whole time, new and old to the channel. If you've been here a long time ago and just happen to find it again, I appreciate it. I know I can't say that for everybody that I had in my alumni, if you may, of YouTubers back in 2012. But I'm glad they're still here too, to some degree. And even if they're not here, I wish that they were doing the things they want to do. They're pursuing